Today we're going to be going over a version of Dragapult that I also like. It's called Kentucky Fried Chicken, also known as Dragapult Blaziken. We're going to be going over my deck list and what I would be playing post Chaos Rising. Hey, what is up, YouTube? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Pokemon deck profile. Today we're going to be going over my Dragapult Blaziken deck, also known as KFC, because it's Kentucky Fried Chicken with dragons. So want to say thanks for checking out the previous videos. I am currently, as of posting this video, at a trade show, or have completed a trade show in Las Vegas called Pokémon. So I probably might be posting a video like discussing my times over there, and also compilation, hopefully. But before I even talk about that, this deck, I just want to explain a little bit what's going to be happening. I am going to be doing more Chaos Rising videos in the coming few days after I come back, so please keep an eye out for that. I will be doing a couple One Piece videos as well as touching up on Vice Shorts, since I've been paying attention to it on the background, but I haven't been like really actively participating in that because Pokemon's been kind of my major focus. So if you guys like more videos like this, or are interested in learning to play One Piece or Vice Shorts, please subscribe if you haven't, and crack that like button and hit the notification button. So without further ado, let's get on to the deck profile. So a lot of things have changed from this list from when I was testing the Starmie list, because I realized that even though the deck has a lot of advantage in terms of early game aggression, the Dragapult, there's so many ways to play Dragapult, and each has their own strengths, and I wanted to test out the various versions of it. So the one that I'm currently testing is KFC, or the Blaziken Dragapult list, and so far I've been liking it. And what I like about it is that it's very resilient in terms of energy acceleration, and you not only do you have Dragapult as an attacker, but you also have Blaziken as a secondary attacker, especially against grass decks, because now you'll have an easier time with grass because you can just hit for weakness. So without further ado, let's get onto the list. So we play 4 Dreepy. I managed to get 4 copies of the Fetid Heroes one, along with the 4 copies of the Dracoloak. So we're playing a 4-4-2 line with this list because we need to fit room for the Blaziken line. And I felt like from looking at lists online, this was the right ratio. I might bump this to 3 if Dragapult needs to be played in more quantities. But mainly we play Dragapult for the Phantom Dive attack. Such a strong attack. Probably one of the best attacks in the game. Next, we play 2 copies of the Torchic from Destined Rivals. I don't have the 100 HP Combuskin, so I'm just playing 1 copy of the 90. And then obviously 2 copies of Blaziken EX with its ability Seething Spirit, allowing you to attach an energy from the discard pile onto this. This is a really good energy acceleration, especially since this most of the deck's attackers are 2 energy attackers, including Blaziken itself, so you have so many options. Next, we play 1 copy of the Lily's Clefairy. I kind of downgraded from the SIR that I previously ran because I was able to get some more inventory for my bit for vending, but I decided to run the full art because it's the second best one. But you run this for the Dragapult mirror match, just easy, and also against Lucario. We play 1 Meowth, 1 Fez, 1 Badoo, and then 2 Monkey Dory. So pretty standard. This is a standard Blaziken list. In fact, this is the one I lifted the Pokemon lineup straight from the Utrecht list because I actually liked some of the lists from Utrecht. But one thing I will be messing around with is answers to Lopunny, and I'm actually going to be experimenting with them and seeing what I could run in place to help answer that matchup, because I think that matchup becomes easier if you know how to respect it. But overall, I think this deck is just overall a really strong lineup, and moving forward with still the high number of grass decks, I think you need to run this kind of version of Dragapult. Next, for the supporters, we play 4 copies of Lily's Determination, 3 copies of Boss's Order, 2 Crispin, and then 2 Dawn. Pretty much I like this lineup. I know some lists play 1 Dawn, but I like 2 because in case you prize one, you want to still have access to 1. And Dawn is just a really good utility supporter because it helps search out all the key pieces for both your stage 1 and stage 2. And since you're playing a lot of stage 2s, playing more Dawn actually kind of helps with the consistency. Next, for the items, we're playing standard 4 Buddy Buddy, 4 Ultra Ball, and 4 Pokepad. Then I play 2 copies of Rare Candy. I would play 3, but I'm very tight in the space right now because I'm also playing Disruption from Chaos Rising in the form of Unfair Stamp. So I needed room to play 2 because I feel like having 2 copies of Disruption is important, and special red card is just really good. And then we play 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Hero's Cape, and then 2 Risky Ruins. And then lastly Risky Ruins is here because you easily get to put free damage counters onto the board easily by benching non-dark Pokemon, and it helps both you and hurt your opponent because you get to toss damage onto the Monkey Dory. So that's pretty standard for that lineup. And then next, we play 3 copies of Fire, 3 Fire, 3 Psychic, and 2 Darkness. So overall, I love this list. It's a really strong deck. It gives you so much answers, and what I like about Dragapult is that it's such a flexible list that you can pretty much flex the ratios. There's even builds where you can even play Moltres, but since we play Blaziken, I decided to cut the Moltres and focus more on consistency, which I actually like with this list because the better you play for your consistency, the better grind game you have. These are going to be games, especially in mirror matches, where you have to just grind your opponent out, especially if in the eventuality that you prize the Lily's Clefairy, which is the easiest answer to that matchup, to the mirror match. So this building for consistency allows you to focus on mapping out those matchups and navigating it easier. And what I like about this list is that Dragapult in general is it's like Charizard in a sense that it is a deck that rewards skill expression. So like if you're really good with decision making, flow charts, and reading the matchups, the deck just rewards you. If you don't know what you're doing, the deck does punish you. That's why I feel like since the rotation, we've been having a lot of high skill cap decks that require you to understand the matchup. And even though it's, I would say, still easy, it's still relatively easy to play the deck in terms of learning the basics. You can tell who's good with the deck if you can tell who is good with the deck. It's very easy to tell who's. It's like with Charizard, like it looks easy on paper because the decisions that you can make is very, pretty much, I would say, when you first learn the deck, it's very easy to understand. But when you get into the matchups, that's where the skill cap just rises with this deck, because you have to understand all your matchups. You have to understand everything with the deck and your when to push and when not to push. For example, one of this deck's hardest matchups is Zoroark because of Reshiram. Knowing when to target down the Reshiram and not touch the Zoroark is very key. And you also have to, now that with the Zekrom, you have to actually keep an eye on it. because Enzrekrom with Binding Mochi and Black Belt's training can knock out a Dragapult. So you have to know and really read the matchups and know when you could take easy knockouts, because against decks like that, sometimes you want to go for the one-hit KO moves rather than going for like build-ups, like slow build-ups for 2-hit KOs, because some decks can actually punish you if you have to 2-hit KO them. And that's one of the reason why Dragapult players like have to actually understand like how to map out their damage spreads in terms of placing damage counters, knowing when to Phantom Dive, and sometimes when it's appropriate to Jet Headbutt, or even attack with things like the Clefairy. You can even attack with the Meowth to bounce it back to your hand, or even attack with the Fez, or even simply knowing when to just use Mind Bend. So you have to, like, the deck requires a lot of navigation, and that's why I feel like even though it's one of the top decks and it looks easy to pilot based on tournament representation, because of you have to have good matchup knowledge, the deck becomes harder as you get up there in the tables, because you can't just simply like build the deck, run it, and expect to win. It's not like I would say like Alakazam is difficult in terms of resource management, but in overall game plan, pretty straightforward. It's also, what's another deck that's pretty straightforward, like Raging Bolt, in my opinion. There's a lot of straightforward decks where the game plan's the same thing over and over and over and over and over, and you don't really have to change it. Even like with Zoroark, like it looks easy because like Dragapult, they have an easy to access consistency tool. For Dragapult, it's Recon Directive. For Zoroark, it's the trade ability. But those two abilities, even if they give you advantage, is very deceptive, because despite you having consistent draw engine and deck thinning, the deck still requires you to understand and navigate the matchups very carefully. And that's one thing that draws me in with Dragapult, and it's one of the reasons why, as I mentioned in the previous videos, my current playtest rotation for the current rotation is Dragapult, Zoroark, and Greninja, because those decks require a lot of thought process and a lot of planning, and it requires you to understand your matchups really well and understand your sequencing well. So I hope you guys liked this video. This is just a quick kind of like a short deck profile. If you want me to go in depth with this deck, and especially with this build, like how to navigate the matchups and like how to play through it, please comment below. I can easily throw a TCG live video just explaining how I would approach the matchups. But that's only if you guys want that. But other than that, the next video that you'll probably see from me is when I come back from my trip. It will be probably the other variants of Dragapult. I'm going to explore Dragapult Noir, Dragapult the Dunsparce, and then the Tord Reckless build. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Also crack that like button. And I'll catch you guys later. This is Platinum Point. Stay on point, guys, and peace out, YouTube.